Burnout is increasingly recognized as a serious occupational challenge that affects both well-being and professional performance. The World Health Organization defines burnout as a syndrome caused by chronic workplace stress that hasn't been successfully managed, and it shows up as exhaustion, cynicism, and a reduced sense of professional effectiveness. Here in the UK, the numbers are rising. 63% of employees now report symptoms of exhaustion and disengagement, up from 51% just 2 years ago. And women are among the most affected. Although burnout can affect anyone, research consistently shows that women are at greater risk. Gendered expectations, unequal recognition, and the pressures of managing multiple responsibilities all combine to make burnout more likely and more impactful for women. In this video, we'll explore what burnout really is, the signs to look out for, the evidence based causes, and most importantly, the strategies that have been shown to make a difference. By the end, you'll have a clearer understanding of burnout and some practical ways to protect your well-being. The World Health Organization recognizes burnout as an occupational syndrome in its International Classification of Diseases. This means it isn't classed as a medical disorder like depression and anxiety. Instead, it's understood as a work related condition that develops when stress at work becomes overwhelming and prolonged. Burnout is defined by three main features. The first is emotional exhaustion, the sense of being drained and depleted of energy. The second is cynicism or detachment from work, a growing distance from tasks or colleagues, often accompanied by frustration or negativity. And the third is reduced professional effectiveness, finding it harder to concentrate, meet goals, or feel that your work has meaning. Research shows that burnout arises directly from the work environment, and it shaped how roles are structured, supported, and experienced. Maslach and later describes six common mismatches between a person and their workplace that creates the conditions for burnout. And these are workload, control, reward, community, fairness, and values. When these areas are consistently misaligned, the risk of burnout increases significantly. Recent studies, such as the job demand resource model, emphasizes that burnout develops when the demand of a role consistently exceeds the resources available to manage them. So high workloads, time pressures, or conflicting responsibilities combine with limited support or autonomy, and they gradually erode well-being and performance. Although burnout can share some symptoms with depression and evidence is clear that it's a distinct occupational phenomenon, its roots lie in the structure and conditions of work, not simply within the individual themselves. When burnout takes hold, it shows up through the body, physically and emotionally. These shifts usually build gradually, becoming more noticeable over time. Physically, research reports several consistent experiences: persistent fatigue, even after periods of rest, and frequent headaches, muscle tension, or stomach upsets, and an increased vulnerability to illnesses as prolonged stress can weaken the immune system. Sleep problems are also one of the most consistent findings. Meta analysis shows a strong link between poor sleep quality, especially insomnia, and high levels of burnout. Poor sleep not only deepens exhaustion, but also reduces the capacity to cope with daily stresses. This creates a cycle that intensifies burnout risk. Emotionally, the impact is just as significant. Many describe irritability, loss of motivation, and difficulty engaging in tasks that once felt manageable. Feelings of cynicism, apathy, or disconnection from work may emerge sometimes, spilling over into personal relationships and reducing overall life satisfaction. Over time, these physical and emotional changes combine to create a sense of being overwhelmed and less effective at work. Research consistently show that the erosion of accomplishment is one of burnout's defining features, and it sets burnout apart from simply being tired or stressed. Burnout can feel as though it has suddenly taken hold. However, research shows that there are early indicators that often appear before the full syndrome develops. Recognizing these signs can help women take action sooner and protect their well-being. The first is energy depletion. This is tiredness that goes beyond the normal ups and downs of a busy week, and it leaves little capacity for properly recovering. The second is emotional changes. These can include irritability, frustration, or withdrawal from colleagues and tasks, often accompanied by decline in job satisfaction. The third is cognitive difficulties. People may find themselves making more mistakes, becoming forgetful, or struggling to concentrate, which makes everyday work feel harder and less rewarding. And the fourth is physical signs. These often include frequent illnesses, tension headaches, and disrupted sleep patterns, all which signal the body is under sustained stress. Evidence also show that women are especially vulnerable to these early risks. Studies highlight high levels of stress and fatigue among women, often due to dual demands from professional roles and personal responsibilities. And over time, these pressures can compound, which make the early recognition particularly important. Research identifies several well established factors that contribute to burnout, and these are structural and relational challenges within the workplace rather than shortcomings of the individual. The first is excessive workload and lack of autonomy. These are consistently as the strongest predictors of burnout. When demands outweigh the level of control people have over how their work is carried out, stress escalates rapidly. The second is poor workplace relationships and recognition. Conflict, discrimination, or a lack of support from colleagues and managers all heighten emotional strain. A culture that undervalues contributions or withholds recognition leaves individuals especially vulnerable. The third is a mismatch between values and tasks. When daily work conflicts with personal or professional values, for example, ethical concerns, unfair treatment, or pressures that act against one's judgment, the risk of burnout increases significantly. The fourth is demands exceeding resources. The job demands resources model shows that burnout develops when high demands, such as time pressures or emotional load, are not balanced by resources such as autonomy, support, or recognition. The fifth is invisible labor and non promotable tasks. Research shows that women are more likely to be assigned this type of work: mentoring, note taking, providing feedback, or organizing team activities. These tasks are essential but are less visible and rarely rewarded in career progression. Women are not only asked to do them more often, but are also likely to accept them, sometimes because of the gendered expectations, and sometimes because of a need to overperform in unequal environments. Over time, this creates additional demands on time and energy and contributes to the risk of burnout. For women, these challenges are often compounded. Balancing professional responsibility with expectations at home while also managing unequal, unrewarding workplace demands creates a cumulative load. Together, these pressures increase vulnerability to burnout and highlight the importance of addressing both organizational structures and gendered expectations. Burnout is prevalent and it is serious. However, research also points to effective strategies that can reduce the risk and support recovery. The strongest evidence highlights interventions at both the organizational and individual level, with women benefiting most from workplace structures effectively addressing inequalities. The first is workplace culture and leadership. Systematic reviews show that intervention which builds trust, recognition, and positive workplace relationships lower burnout rates, especially among women. Supportive leaderships, regular well-being checks, and fair recognition systems are consistently linked to improved resilience and higher job satisfaction. The second is work-life balance policies. Flexible hours, remote working options, and adequate leave to help to reduce conflict between work and personal responsibilities, which is one of the major contributing factors to burnout among women. When organizations normalize these policies, women report lower stress levels and greater engagement in work. The third is addressing invisible labor. Research shows that women are more often asked to complete low visible tasks such as mentoring, note taking, or organizing. While these are important contributing factors, they rarely carry recognition in career progression. Training managers to distribute these tasks more equitably and making them visible in performance assessments can significantly reduce gender strain. The fourth is peer support and professional resources. Access to peer groups, mentoring networks, and mental health services fosters a sense of community and reduces isolation. Training managers to notice early warning signs and encourage the use of supportive services has also been shown to reduce burnout prevalence. The fifth is professional and wellness coaching. Emergent evidence shows coaching, including career, life, psychology, and wellness coaching, plays a significant role in reducing stress and symptoms of burnout. In a randomized control trial, 6 coaching sessions over 5 months led to significant reduction in emotional exhaustion and overall burnout, as well as improvements in quality of life and resilience. A more recent trial found that small group professional coaching reduced burnout by nearly 30% compared to individual coaching or control groups. Wellness coaching has also been shown to lower burnout and improve retention among nurses working in high stress environments. Coaching provides structured support to clarify values, strengthen resilience, and develop skills such as boundary setting and negotiating, all of which are particularly important for women managing high demands and gendered expectations. The final area is organization wide approaches. The most successful initiatives are those that embed the workplace culture rather than left individuals to manage alone. Research shows that collective strategies such as open communication, supportive leadership, and shared responsibility for well-being are more effective than individual coping strategies on their own. For women, the evidence is clear. Interventions that combine fair recognition of contributions, supportive policies, equitable workload distributions, and access to professional coaching are the most effective. When organizations address both structural stresses and gendered expectations, women experience lower burnout and greater career satisfaction. Burnout is not simply a matter of individual resilience. It develops from structural, relational, and cultural factors in the workplace. Research shows it arises when job demands exceed available resources, when recognition is absent, or when expectations conflict with personal values. For women, these pressures are often amplified by additional invisible labor, societal expectations, and a need to overperform in inequitable environments. The good news is that there are proven ways to reduce the risk. Supportive leadership, fair recognition, equitable distribution, and work life balance policies all make a measurable difference. Coaching, both professional and wellness focused, are also emerging as a powerful tool to strengthen resilience, improve coping, and reduce emotional exhaustion. Early recognition matters. By noticing the first signs, persistent fatigue, disrupted sleep, irritability, or withdrawal, women can seek support sooner and organizations can step in more effectively. The most sustainable solutions happen when individuals, teams, and workplaces share responsibility for well-being. Addressing burnout is not only about preventing harm, it's about enabling women to thrive, to contribute fully, and to sustain careers and lives that feel purposeful and energized. By combining organizational change with evidence based personal support, we can reduce risk and build healthier and more resilient environments for women's workplace and well-being. If this resonates with you, take a moment to reflect on the research we've discussed and how it applies to your life and work. And if you'd like structured support to explore this more deeply, you can find resources and coaching opportunities within the Women's Wellbeing Lab or contact me directly for a discovery call and personal coaching.